Now an update on a story we did last August. As in other cities and institutions across the country, there's a move to push Somerville to sell off or limit its investments in companies dealing in fossil fuels, such as oil, coal, and gas. Hundreds of residents signed a petition, and the Board of Aldermen voted a resolution supporting divestment. Has it happened yet? There was a meeting the other day at the library. News director Jane Regan went to check it out.
On January 29th, the Fossil-Free Somerville Coalition hosted a luncheon for city employees at the library. The objective? To share information about the growing divestment movement and to try to convince members of the fund to support it. Last year, the group launched a petition that made a request.
Divest from the top 200 publicly traded fossil fuel companies within the next 5 years and not reinvest in those companies. And we ask for the top 200 companies because these companies control the majority of the oil reserves in the ground that's controlled by publicly traded companies.
The Board of Aldermen supported the idea, but the decision lies with the Somerville Retirement Board, a committee that follows the advice of its fund managers. Presenters at the luncheon used financial arguments.
Actually, the fossil fuel companies, when you divest from them, turns out that sometimes you do better than if you didn't divest. This is the fossil fuel index that was just created, fossil-free index, I should say, U.S. And in 2014, they outperformed the S&P by 1.5%.
A Somerville resident from the green investment firm Trillium Asset Management noted that divesting is not just an environmental decision.
There's two things that you look at when you're managing a portfolio, obviously the performance, but also the risk, and that divesting can considerably improve the risk characteristics.
A former deputy fire chief added his support.
Given what we know about climate change now, how secure is anybody's future?
Hundreds of institutions have divested or plan to, and cities are slowly getting on board, according to Fossil-Free Somerville.
In terms of actually taking their investments out of fossil fuels, no one has done it yet. There have been a number of cities that have passed resolutions in support of divestment, a number of other cities that are looking into the process. Seattle and San Francisco are among the ones that are closer to actually doing it, but no city has actually fully divested. Ultimately, this is the decision of the Somerville Retirement Board, whether to divest or not. So since last summer, we've been working closely with them, talking about investment, trying to convince them to do it. Obviously, it's a bit of a slow process because they want to do their due diligence, make sure they know what they're getting into and what they're doing. So we're continuing to work with them on that and also reach out to residents and workers to ask the Retirement Board to do that.
Why does former city employee and author Patricia Wild support divestment?
I'm a city resident. I love this city, and I want to be a part of it once again, doing groundbreaking work. But most of all, I'm here because I'm a grandmother, and we're talking about my grandchildren's future, their air, their water, their ability to live on blessed Mother Earth.
Not too many people turned out for the Fossil-Free Somerville luncheon, but the argument sounded pretty convincing to me. Will the city's pensioners and will the Somerville Retirement Board decide they agree? And will they divest from those 200 top fossil fuel companies? We'll keep following this story. For Somerville Neighborhood News, I'm Jane Regan.